This is Carl with your weekly livestock update for Friday, April the 11th. Um, what a week in livestock this week. Limit losses a week ago today, corn, soybeans, and hogs, and spent much of this week treading water and regrouping all three of them. We did see some pretty sizable gains in the livestock this week. We also saw some losses. Um, Bottom line, trade reacting more than anything to the updated tariff news in the livestock, same as it has the commodities, building concerns over our exports going into the Asian market mostly. Um, with Mexico and Canada, we're not, we're sticking to the USMCA rules, so we're not going to see too much of a shake up there, I don't believe. But obviously, with China, with our tariffs at 145%, and China, putting 125% tariff on the United States, basically we're saying we're not going to trade. We're not going to trade between the two parties. So we don't know what that's going to shake up for us quite yet. We also have to remember we have South Korea, and we have South Korea, Japan. We have others that are also seeing tariffs. Taiwan. And these are destinations that show up every week in the red meat exports. And if we're going to start taxing them like this, we're going to see some kickback. USDA basically confirmed that, or alluded to it, I should say, in the WASDE report that came out on Thursday. No major shakeups in the red meat balance sheets at all this month. Nothing out of line. But it was the USDA stating that beef production did bump up a little bit from the higher weights we had seen. Pork production down a little bit, hogs a little bit lighter, and a little bit lighter movement on the hogs. But all in all, the USDA kind of just punted, I would say, the red meat demand out because there is so much uncertainty with it. But we also saw a statement from them that they are monitoring it, and they do expect our red meat exports to decline, but they expect our cattle imports and our beef imports to also slip backwards. And this gave us some support going into Friday's trade that, yeah, we're probably going to lose some exports, but we're probably going to need that to cover our imports. So we're still trying to shake out what our beef balance sheets look like. Pork, not as much concern. Yeah, we're going to see some pork business go away, but in a recession, and that's another factor here. Not saying we're in a recession. Some economists say we are. Some are saying we're heading that way. But the market is definitely stagnating. You can see that the supply um, is maybe starting to build a little bit. It's going to be a while before we see all of this flow through the cold storage reports, but I think you do see some consumer pushback, especially on the higher end cuts of meat. Um, but we're also in front of the grilling season, and Angie and I discussed this today. If people can't afford to go on cruises or take vacations, are they still going to have weekend cookouts? So there again, that's the uncertainty we're trying to price into this market, and it's pretty tough right now. I would have to say the Packers are leaning towards the side that maybe we see a little bit less demand. FOB bids this week on cattle $2 to $3 lower. Dressed weights coming in $7 to $8 lower than last week. So it is starting to show up, from the Packers sentiment a little bit. Packers don't want to get caught holding a lot of high-priced inventory. High-priced is the key one there. Markets are correcting. You'll see Packers step out here a little bit now and extend some coverage, especially, like I said, due to the fact we're right in front of that spring demand base starting to perk up. Weekly slaughter numbers came in. Cattle slaughter down 4% from the week before. After seeing a bump last week, we dipped again. I believe that's 6 out of the last 7 weeks that beef slaughter has been down from the previous year. Again, the numbers are down, beef production down a little bit. trying to weigh the demand side. That's the real uncertainty right now. Pork production on the week was up 1%. Not a major shakeup there at all. All in all, like I said, it was a very volatile week in the livestock complex, but not really a lot of fresh news to push anything one way or the other. Going into next week, I'm going to start paying, or I think we should pay a little more attention to the southern pasture conditions. Pretty dry down there in the plains, and we're going to start getting the weekly crop condition reports out, and everybody focuses on the corn and soybean plantings and everything associated with them. Don't forget we get the pasture condition ratings. Pastures aren't the worst right now, but they're not the best. We start to see them pasture conditions slip backwards, then we're going to have to see if feeders are still willing to jump out and what we're going to do with replacement costs there. So those are some of the things we watched this week. Thank you for your time.